if you read the papers, or you would think that cybersecurity is about breaking in somewhere and stealing credit cards, and we see these great headlines. But actually, what's going on is much more worrying than that. What you're seeing now is the really quiet attack. So the stuff you read in the paper is equivalent of being burgled and you come home and all your drawers are being turned out. Whereas what we're talking about here is someone who's got into your house, bugged it, put in cameras, and also has an ability to release a gas canister at any point. So they get in, it's quiet, they learn everything that's going on, and at any point they can hit a kill switch. And that's much harder to find because, of course, they don't disturb anything. So that's why companies are having to think very differently about this. It's not about the smash and grab anymore. The other end of the spectrum, you have attacks now that are so fast that there's no way in which a human can respond, and you need to have technology which goes mano a mano in real time with it before the humans are even awake. So it's moving very, very fast. It's very different. A lot of the methods that people used to use, so you can't rely on the perimeter wall because they're already in. They're not going to be noisy, they might be very quiet, and they might be very fast. And these are being powered by AI. So the attackers are now using AI. So the way in which they get to be very quiet is the AI gets in, looks around, blends in, works out how to blend in, and then works out what's going on. It doesn't have to phone home because it's an AI. It can make its own decisions. Very, very hard to find. Or one that when it mounts an attack, it's making its decisions in real time, faster than a human can, by 1,000 times, and doing things. So we are in a very different situation. It is endemic. The important things to understand about where cybersecurity is now is it is not about if you are attacked. You are being attacked all the time. And even if you don't think you're a target, so for example, we saw nation-state hackers hack into a travel agency. Why? Well, because there might be some people who are travelling that they want to know where they're travelling to and why, and might intercept them, whatever. So you wouldn't have thought a travel agency was high on the list of a nation-state targets, but it absolutely is. So no one is immune to this. You are being attacked all the time. You are almost certainly infiltrated. So when Darktrace, for example, goes into large companies, 70% of the time they already have something nasty sitting in there. And once you've had something, you can never clean it out. You can never be sure it's gone. So it is much more like our immune system in that you assume you're dealing with common cold viruses and et cetera, et cetera. The other thing people don't realise is in this digital world how you can go about an attack. So, for example, we had one where a power station was attacked, and the way it was attacked was someone just flooded the internet with manuals for a vacuum cleaner. And of course, nearly everyone that downloaded that vacuum cleaner manual, nothing happened because the code in it popped up and said, "Am I inside the power station?" No, went quiet. But one power station person did. Gets in, realises it's on a laptop that's to do with the power station, and then it starts. And to us, coming from the physical world, it might seem counterintuitive that you'd put out 100,000 of these just to get one in. But it's a digital world, it doesn't matter. You can do that. So even an act that you would think is as simple as randomly picking up a manual off the web can actually do these things. Then there's all the things that are connected to everything. So, we've seen attacks that have come through the thermometer on the wall. We've seen one in a casino that they had a fancy shark tank that was online. That was the way in. So everything is connected to everything. We're even looking at attack at the moment where we think it may have come from a car that was in the car park of an employee, and that car was online. And they'd also logged it onto the Wi-Fi, and so you could get in through the car. So you have to assume it's happening all the time, it's around you. And then the level of attack. So what you can do now is you can, with 20 minutes of speech, so for example, a video or something off the web or a recorded phone call, you can copy someone's voice. And so we've seen attacks where the IT department is rung up by the CEO, who has a reasonably distinctive voice, and a story is told that, I'm in a taxi, I've just landed at the airport, I've lost my phone, I need you to reset my password, can you send me over this and give me access to that? And when you actually see how this is done, it's hilarious, because they have a keyboard and they have all the possible phrases that they might want on a key. And so the person says, well, can you give me a little bit more detail about how you lost it? I'm not in a place that I can tell you that now, and if they're good, you get through and you attack. So the old thing that we would all rely on, that we recognise the person's voice on the phone, you can't rely on that anymore. So we are in a very different league. And I think the last thing just to think about is, we all love those Terminator films, where the robots go at it, and you've got your Terminator T whatever versus T. That's happening now. Today, AIs are out there fighting against each other, but they're not doing it in metal robots. They're doing it on networks running around after each other. So we are already there.